The Sao Paulo Grand Prix delivered a thrilling display of racing action, but the sprint and qualifying sessions revealed a few surprises and controversies. Here's a recap. McLaren's mixed fortunes. Lando Norris shone in the sprint, leading from the start and claiming victory despite late pressure. However, Oscar Piastri's luck ran out again, as he failed to finish for the second sprint in a row. He spun and hit the barriers after getting on the curb, which was still wet. Norris continued his dominance in qualifying, topping the first two segments. A lockup in Q3 left him in P10, but he bounced back to secure pole position with a strong second run. Piastri couldn't match his teammate's pace, finishing fourth. Norris expressed his satisfaction with the car's performance and the team's efforts, acknowledging the challenging conditions. He also mentioned the pressure he felt after the lockup in Q3 but praised his ability to stay calm and deliver when it mattered. Piastri, on the other hand, was disappointed with his sprint performance but remained optimistic for the race, hoping to capitalize on the car's speed. Mercedes dueling duo. Mercedes' young stars, Kimi Antonelli and George Russell, engaged in an intense battle during the sprint. Antonelli got ahead at the start, and they kept their fights clean and fair, much to the team's relief. Antonelli gradually closed in on Norris but couldn't challenge for the lead due to the damp track. They finished second and third, boosting Mercedes to second in the championship. Antonelli continued his strong form in qualifying, securing P2 on the grid for his best Grand Prix start. Russell, however, struggled with his tyres, particularly the soft compound, and finished sixth. He opted for medium tyres on his final flying run in Q3 but couldn't improve his position. Russell congratulated his teammate and the team but admitted his disappointment with P6. He mentioned the challenges of finding the right tyre window and the impact of limited practice time and changing weather conditions. Antonelli, on the other hand, was thrilled with his front-row start and praised the team's efforts in putting everything together. He also highlighted the crowd's energy and his growing comfort with the car. Ferrari's mixed results. Lewis Hamilton had a great getaway in the sprint, climbing from P11 to 8th, closely following his teammate. Charles Leclerc eventually found a way past, but Hamilton didn't have enough time to attack. In qualifying, Hamilton struggled with rear grip and exited in Q2, while Leclerc made it to Q3 and grabbed P3 on the grid, against the run of form. Leclerc was satisfied with his qualifying performance, considering the challenging weekend. He mentioned the car's improved performance after some changes and his strong laps in Q2 and Q3. Hamilton, on the other hand, congratulated the WEC team for their achievements and acknowledged the positive start in Brazil. He mentioned the changes made to the car after the sprint, which helped on the straights and high-speed corners, but the lack of grip in Q2 cost them. Red Bull's disappointing day. Max Verstappen had a mixed sprint, starting well and making up one position, but the red flag and wet patches on the track hindered his progress. He finished fourth after inheriting a place from Piastri's crash. In qualifying, neither Red Bull made it out of Q1, with Verstappen complaining about sliding and having to underdrive the car. The team's setup changes after the sprint didn't work, leaving them with a lot of work to do for the race. Verstappen expressed his frustration with the car's performance, mentioning the lack of grip and traction. He struggled to understand the issues and was surprised by the unexpected difficulties. Yuki Tsunoda also had a frustrating day, starting from the pit lane in the sprint and finishing 13th. In qualifying, he encountered another issue after setup changes, resulting in a lack of grip and a 19th place finish. Racing Bull's midfield battle. Isaac Hadjar and Liam Lawson had a challenging sprint, with Lawson being penalized for causing a collision with Oliver Bearman. However, both drivers excelled in qualifying, making it to Q3 with ease. Hadjar was the best midfield runner in 5th, while Lawson finished 7th. Hadjar was pleased with the team's performance in qualifying, considering the difficult conditions. He mentioned the car's pace and the surprise of finishing 5th. Lawson also expressed satisfaction with the team's result, highlighting the strong pace in qualifying after a tough sprint. Both drivers are aiming to score important points for the Constructors' Championship. Haas redemption. Haas drivers Esteban Ocon and Oliver Bearman had a disappointing sprint, struggling with pace and tangling with Lawson. However, Bearman redeemed himself in qualifying, finishing 8th after a strong performance in Q2. Ocon, on the other hand, exited in Q1, still struggling with one-lap pace. Bearman was surprised by the team's competitiveness in qualifying, finishing P3 in Q1 and P2 in Q2. He was slightly disappointed with his Q3 performance but was excited for the race, having shown great race pace in the sprint. Ocon mentioned the car's balance issues and the need to find answers, while also praising the team's efforts. Alpine's comeback. Pierre Gasly continued his strong form, finishing 8th in the sprint and qualifying 9th for the Grand Prix. Franco Colapinto, on the other hand, spun off into retirement after hitting the curb at Turn 2. He was cleared by the medical center, and the team did a great job to rebuild his car for qualifying, where he exited in Q1. Gasly was pleased with the team's performance, scoring their first points since Spa in the sprint and making it to Q3 in qualifying. He mentioned the car's potential and the team's ideas for their competitiveness. Colapinto thanked the team for repairing his car and expressed his gratitude for their hard work. He mentioned the car's different feeling and the need to understand why they couldn't get the same performance. Kick Sauber's crash and recovery. Kick Sauber's sprint was marred by crashes. Nico Hülkenberg spun out into the barriers at Turn 2, narrowly missing Piastri's McLaren. Gabriel Bortoleto also crashed, slamming into the barrier and bouncing across the track. Fortunately, both drivers walked away unharmed. Hülkenberg's car was repaired, and he made it to Q3 for the first time this season, finishing 10th. Bortoleto, however, couldn't compete in qualifying due to the damage to his car. He expressed his disappointment at missing out on his home Grand Prix but was grateful for the team's efforts and the safety of the cars. Aston Martin's mixed results. Fernando Alonso had a feisty start in the sprint, holding off Verstappen before yielding. He held up the Ferrari pair for a while but eventually finished 6th. In qualifying, neither driver made it out of Q2, with Alonso in P11 and Lance Stroll in P14. Alonso mentioned the mixed day, with a good sprint but a more challenging qualifying due to tyre confidence issues. He remains optimistic for points on Sunday. Stroll acknowledged the car's balance issues and the need to understand and improve for the race. Williams struggle. Williams had a disappointing sprint, with Carlos Sainz collecting data after a pit lane start and Alexander Albon picking up debris from Bortoleto's crash, dropping to the back. In qualifying, Sainz struggled again, managing only 15th on the grid, while Albon finished 12th. Albon mentioned the sprint's challenges and the need to work quickly to turn the car around before qualifying. He expressed his relief that Bortoleto was unharmed and praised the team's efforts. Sainz acknowledged the car's balance issues and the difficulty in finding performance, hoping for a better strategy on Sunday. Pirelli's analysis. Mario Isala, motorsport director at Pirelli, provided insights into the track conditions and tyre performance. He mentioned that the overnight rain reset the track evolution, resulting in slower lap times compared to the previous day and the equivalent sessions last year. The gusting wind also contributed to car balance challenges. Isala highlighted the performance gap between medium and soft tyres in qualifying, estimated at around 2 to 3 tenths of a second, in line with simulations. He also discussed the one-stop and two-stop strategy options, suggesting that soft and medium tyres could be the best choices for a one-stopper, while the two-stopper could include the softest compounds for an initial advantage. And there you have it, a thrilling weekend of racing in Sao Paulo, with plenty of action and drama on and off the track. But here's where it gets controversial. Do you think the team's strategies and setup choices were justified, or did they miss the mark? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.